All right, folks. Thanks for being here. I'm learning to basically keep start things off and get the placeholder for it, so you guys can see that I am going to be going live. I am going to try and do it between 10 and 10:30. So I appreciate you being here. We do have a lot to talk about. We got to whoosh get that conversation on about this whole thing that's going on over in the Middle East. I did the crisis report earlier. It was pretty darn big, but my phone was about to die. All of our chargers were all over the place, and so I just kind of busted it out. So for all the people that are get to the point, you're welcome. Okay, and if you want to get to the point, go on over there. This is more of a conversation here on PrepperNow. So I saw this before I get started. I like to do a couple different things. We're going to definitely take up most of the night's conversation with what's going on in the Middle East. But before we did, I saw this. This is Big Lots. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Big Lots, but Big Lots is a retailer, and they get a lot of stuff that is overproduced on special. They can't sell it. They've got stuff sometimes that has like little minor damage or whatever, but they get big lots of things and then they sell them for a much reduced price. And it's a good place to get all kinds of different stuff. I've shopped there before. It's been many years, but still, they're all over the place. And Big Lots has gone from $70 a share to $1 in its near bankruptcy. And that was in 2021, and now it is basically about to go under. So I'm showing you this to give you an idea of where the economy is. And I think, as always, is just to keep perspective, we're going to be talking about the Middle East and all that, but in the end, it's going to be your money that is going to be most affected. Things that are going on now are going to hit you personally at home in the wallet. This is where I think most people need to pay attention. Things going on in the Middle East are scary to see, and you worry about big nasty happenings, but it'll be the price at the pump that affects you. It'll be retailers like this group, Big Lots, getting some kind of a major market shock, and this thing gets kicked in the nuts and it's gone. And as it says here, there will be massive wave of retail companies, restaurants that'll crumble over the next 12 months. And that is the absolute truth. We are seeing it all over. If you guys remember from a few days ago when we were on our trip, it was the Canada and how Trudeau, since 2008, has kicked them in the nuts. Kevin Grip, thank you so much. On that note, the membership, the people in green, it's $5 a month. Some people are over on Crisis for Report, my sister channel, where I just do the straight news. But over here, I do breaking alerts over there for things. All the stuff that has happened in the last 24 hours basically came out to my community members for the low cost of $2 a month, less than a coffee. Trust me, I know it is less than a coffee. You can't get a coffee out there, even at like gas stations, for $2 a month now. But when the first dude, the Shakur guy, got taken out, I had a post up within 90 seconds, literally. When Hanye got taken out, I had it up within about an hour and a half, but that was at 2:30 in the morning when everything was unfolding and most people were asleep. The point I'm making is I am always doing this. I am always receiving information, even to the point where in my sleep, I will miss things every once in a while when it happens if I'm live streaming, but that's about it. And you can count those that have happened on my thumb. So if you care about breaking news and you care about what's going on in the world and you want to know, I strongly encourage you consider membership. It keeps the lights on and everything else, keeps the wife happy, and keeps me able to come here and do it, because I'm not just some Joe Blow. I actually have a background in this with all kinds of other pedigrees I'm not going to go into. Those that have been around for a while know that what you're going to get here is going to be the best of the best. Odd lots, big lots, whatever it is, they're taking it in the nuts. More going to happen. If the Middle East goes up in flames, and I do believe it will, and we're going to go through that tonight, all these markets are going to crash, and it's going to take low-hanging fruit like this one out. And there's more than this. I mean, Red Lobster is hanging on by a thread. I think they have some kind of a reestablishment thing. There's another pizza place. I want to say Lido Pizza. I'm not quite sure. They're hanging on by a thread. They're about to get taken out. So numerous restaurants, numerous retailers, which is funny. You go on and you see all the pro-Kamala stuff. They're like, oh, she's going to win because she's not Joe. I mean, they're both the ticket that is out there right now that is giving you the results that you're seeing in front of you, and they can try and hide it all they want, and trust me, they're doing it. They have scrubbed everything about her. Even her birth certificate they've gotten rid of. I mean, they just, it's a full court press to get her over by the information people out there, to the point where if you Google Trump rally, Kamala Harris stuff comes up, So it's important to get good information, and you are not living in a world where things are fair, okay? So that aside, we are in the midst of a precipice of big things happening, okay? The Middle East is on fire. So to give you a bit of perspective, at about 12:30, I think was the first, 12:15 was the first post I saw last night when I look back through all the information, because I get something, I don't just put it out there. I look at it and then I go to other channels. If multiple channels are talking about it, okay, it's worthy. If it's just one channel, I might go huge grain of salt. If it's someone that's really well respected and well connected like Amir Sarfati, I might go with it, but for the most part, I need multiple information sources telling me about it. And so 12:15 last night, it came out that Haniyeh was taken out. 3 o'clock yesterday, I think it came out that Shakur was taken out. Shakur was the number 2 man of Hezbollah. Haniyeh is the mastermind of Hamas. So these are 2 major people that have been taken out in the last, they were within, 3 p.m. to midnight. You're talking within 10 hours of each other. So the shifting of the Middle East is going to happen. Iran cannot save face without some kind of retaliation. There were people that were hopeful that after the Majd al-Shams hit that happened with the 12 kids at the soccer camp, that taking out Shakur would be an appeasement and kind of de-escalate things. But it's not looking like that now, because basically Israel, which in my mind, this is what I think, okay, it's my opinion and it's mine alone. I think that Israel went over and talked to America when Netanyahu was here and said, look, we have these issues going on, and we're looking for your backing. And I don't know if they got the cold shoulder, or if they figured out that basically there's a really good chance of a Harris presidency, which is just mind-boggling because she's as vapid as they come. I think they said, look, this is going on, and you guys are just going to have to hashtag deal with it. But of course, the White House is like, we didn't know this was happening. Horse crap. You knew everything that was going on. They know everything. And they said, okay, we don't know what's going to happen in 3 months with all this. Our guy might not be getting back. They're doing the usual things that they do. They're weighting the scales so that Kamala is going to get all the love in the press and everything else. And we better go for it now. And so I think Israel did. I think they went and they had the Shakur guy, and then it came out that they had Haniyeh. I'm not going to... screw it, I'll do it. I'm tabulating for the crisis report, which will be coming out in the morning. It's going to get more and more in the morning and get closer to a 6:30 a.m. release date as we get ready for the onset of going back to the education campus. Hani was taken out because he had WhatsApp installed on his phone, and the Israelis sent him some kind of a text message through it or something, which activated the WhatsApp app and basically gave them a locator of where he was. So that's how they knew where he was and how to do it. So all this technology is out there. If you're trying to be sleuthy and all that, I mean, you're basically good luck. So that's how he got taken out, and that's how they knew where he was. So, I was going to come over and do this, but I'm already mojoing right now. Yeah, well, we'll end on that one. This is just a funny story that's just dumb. Shows you where our media is. So the U.S. has come out and said they're going to defend, Israel, but the U.S. is kind of in a bit of a pickle. The reason why is because the United States has assets in the Middle East, and then they also have their buddy Israel, right? They're not able to cover both. So a lot of things have come out. There was an article that came out saying that basically Netanyahu is running our foreign policy right now. You can definitely make that case. As this guy says here, Israel has the U.S. right where it wants them. They attack an enemy, and the morons in D.C. assure them that they will bear the brunt of the revenge. Talk about incentive for Israel to wage war on literally everyone around them. What self-respecting country would put itself in this position? And that's exactly where we're at. That's as good of a assessment as you can get. Israel is, I think, knowing that they need to move on stuff right now. They've got the U.S. by the short hairs, and, everybody's got to get that Israeli lobby, on their side, so they're going for it. And America is going to back them up. And I do think it would take a miracle at this point for a larger regional war not to happen. It might not happen after this one, but we're really running out of opportunities to miss this. And even Medvedev came out and said of Russia, you might know him, he's the right-hand man of Putin, and a lot of times the mouthpiece saying what Putin doesn't want to say. And he basically said at this point, we need a major war in the Middle East to establish some form of a shaky peace. That's what he came out and said. So even the Russians are like, you know what, it's time to throw down. The United States is sending assets there. We got boats going to the Middle East. The Russians have boats in. They just landed in Oman. So you've got multiple heavy hitters in the area. Chinese will do their usual thing. They'll lay back and say how, they want to cause peace and how they'll negotiate and help. Meanwhile, they'll keep everything on the ready for any kind of a opening for Taiwan. So, and by the way, if China were to want to take Taiwan, August, September is some of the best time to do it from a climate standpoint. So, the larger war is, I think, coming. I think the reason why is because in April, you'll remember, there was the big response. You had the back and forth between Israel and Iran. And Iran chucked a bunch of drones and a bunch of missiles. And, some of them were set off and they took 10 hours to get there. It was more of a show. It was more of a show from Iran. It was more of a show from Israel. But things keep going. And the problem is that Israel knows that it's a lonely, in its neighborhood. And America will only help so much, or can only help so much, especially after seeing that financial chart. And the big fight is coming. I think Israel knows that. Meanwhile, on the other end, Iran isn't able to just go out and strike any kind of a super blow. However, they've got all these pissed off jihadis that are sitting there from Iran to Iraq to Syria to Yemen, to Gaza, to Lebanon, all sitting there going, bro, when's the big fight coming? We want to throw down. There's been reports for months now that fighters have been coming from Pakistan and Afghanistan, going into either Lebanon or Syria or Iraq through back roads to basically get there and to get ready for the big show. And so this is all coming. We're in we have about 36 hours to 72 hours at this point before something major happens. Okay. The funeral for Shakur is happening tomorrow. There's a NOTAM right now over Tehran. Notice to airmen basically saying that there's a no-fly zone. No-fly zones are very big indicators that major crap is about to happen. If you remember here yesterday, I put it out in the evening time at some point from Amir Sarfati that Israel had put out a shutdown of their airspace, which meant something they were about to drop a hammer, and then a few hours later, of course, you had the strike on Haniyeh. So all this is just escalating. It's all getting more and more and more and more and more. The big concern with Iran right now in this whole thing, and you've got, through Shakur's funeral, and then they might even be able to make it through Haniyeh, but at the same time, Iran might just be like, let's attack when they're not expecting it. Israel has proven through both of those hits that they can hit anyone, anytime, anywhere, and they don't give an shit about what you think about it. If Mossad wants you gone, Mossad will get you gone. That's what they have said and made a clear voicing to with the Iranians. The Iranians know this, and now the Iranians are like, you know what? We either show everybody in the world that we're their bitch, or we do something and we start to send over the next gen weapons. In April 11th, when the last hit was, or the big show of force by Iran, when they supposedly tried to attack Israel, and Israel knew it was coming, everybody knew it was coming, they did it in a way that everything could get knocked down. It was just to kind of show their fighters that they were going to respond, but at the same time, it wasn't a response that was going to go into an all-out war. Well, now they can't really do that again. And so Iran is weighing their options on what they can do, and there's a lot of people that think that they're going to be using their next-gen weapons, okay? Iran has gotten a lot of technology from China. They've gotten a lot of technology from Russia. They've gotten a lot of technology from other players in the Mideast. And there's word that they're going to bring out the big stuff. They're going to bring out the new stuff. They're going to bring out the weapons that are not, all these countries that are at war right now have been really chucking the junk at each other. Russia specifically. They're getting rid of all the old Soviet crap. Iran is getting rid of all the old crap from the war with Iraq in the 80s and 90s and all the other BS. They're getting rid of all of their junk in kind of a show of force, but they've got some shiny new things in the garage that they're just waiting to bring out and test drive. So the worry is that Iran is going to do that. They're going to come out with their big, larger, more advanced weaponry that they have gotten. Shahed drones have been very effective in Ukraine, and a lot of things that are going on in the Middle East are pointing towards something happening. And, as I'm tabulating this, one of the guys I go to the main part, because he's got some of the best intel out there. His sources are awesome. He's former military. He knows weapon systems. He knows military thinking, and he just knows the region. And Aquila is who I follow for many different things. He is the one that has basically gotten a lot of it right and has helped me get a lot of it right. So he is saying basically at this point, first of all, the New York Times in a breaking story saying Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah al-Khamenei has ordered retaliation against Israel. That is BS. The New York Times doesn't know that. Now, there are certain intel institutions in America that could know that. Yes, but the New York Times doesn't. Now, maybe they got something leaked from some military guy or whatever, but the Ayatollahs don't give that out. They're not going to share that out, especially right now. So I think that's a clickbait thing. A lot of other channels, Middle East Spectator, said the same thing. Others, Bellum Acta, another really good analysis channel, they've all said that this whole thing is just basically put out there to get forces on alert, and they don't really know when or where. But everybody can agree something is going to happen. Something is going to be shot. Something is going to be sent. Something is going to happen. So, America can't cover all of its bases. We can't make sure that everything is completely secure. And the big worry is that a combined force is going to hit Israel from all sides. You're going to get Yemen in the south. You're going to get Syria in the east, and Iraq, and all those militias that have been, getting ready for the big show and are chafing at the bits to get her done. You've got Hezbollah, who is 10 times as strong as Hamas. Hamas is really on the ropes, and Israel has done everything it can to make that happen. So when this larger event happens, they can kind of manage it better. But still, nobody knows what the outcome is going to be, because it's like, being in sports ball and you've taken on the JV team and you crushed them. But the varsity team is next up, and these guys are much better. These are seniors. Their 3-pointer is amazing. They got they got the point. The guy scoring the most point in the conference on their team. That kind of thing. I don't know who that was. I got to see who that was. That was Bad Bobber. Thank you very much. We're going up against the varsity team, folks. And Israel doesn't know how that's all going to go. Now, Israel is some bad mofos, as we've seen in the last 24 hours. What they have done is absolutely nuts. To take out Shakur, to take out Haniyeh in the ways that they did it in succession to each other within 10 hours is absolutely impressive from a military standpoint. Same time, there are a lot of weariness in the IDF. I'm not sure the validity. I've only seen this at one place, so please take this with a grain of salt. But one channel reported, and it was a Middle Eastern, East-leaning channel, so they were not pro-Israel, so this might be bogus. So take it with a big grain of salt. But they said a IDF soldier freaked out on his chain of command and people in his unit and shot a bunch of them, and 3 of them died, and then turned the gun on himself. I don't know if that's true. I've only seen it one place. It is a solid channel, but it is pro Hamas, so I don't know if that was just they're aggravated with everything going on. So if someone knows if that actually did happen, I would like to know. That's kind of a development that should be taken into consideration, showing the duress that the IDF is going under, and the fact that a lot of this is, escalating. There have been numerous countries that have said GTFO of Lebanon, get out of everywhere around there, anywhere. If you're in the area or you're planning on going there, you need to get out now. There's a level 4 advisory from the United States State Department saying you need to get, you shouldn't travel to this place. What happens from here, I don't know. We've seen the precipice like this before, and all sides know, please know this, all sides know that a regional war is going to be devastating to everything and could spark and fuse out of control to the globe itself. It could send, China's thinking that I've got my opportunity for Taiwan. It could send, Russia thinking I've got my opportunity to fully take over Ukraine. It could take, Venezuela saying, I've got my opportunity to go into Essequibo and take over the Guyana portion that we want to annex because it's got a crap load of oil. The unintended consequences from all this could go. The people that are running Israel, the people that are running Iran, the people that are running all these countries know that a major conflict is going to hurt the global economy. It's going to hurt their economy. The port of Eilat in Israel is bankrupt. It's completely shut down. Haifa said they could see possibly 4,000 rockets a day get shot into them, and Hezbollah has major reserves. Now, again, this is all conjecture. I don't know the validity of it. These are people talking about things that could happen. But the main thing that people need to understand is that this is going to be, if it were to unfold into a regional war, it would be something incredibly devastating to all kinds of stuff. So when I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at Big Lots, and you've got investments in there, or you're working at the local restaurant, or, you're getting ready to send your kid off to college, the main thing that's going to happen here is that this is going to really kick the nuts of the economy, which is why I think Harris and Joe, whatever's left of him, are saying, please, Lord, do not do this until after the election. But then again, Netanyahu knows that if this goes up in flames, it's honestly going to be better for Trump, really. And they want Trump. Netanyahu wants Trump. They're buddies. Netanyahu thinks he will get a more favorable administration from Trump. He does. So a lot of things are riding on this. Khomeini and the the Ayatollahs and the upper echelons of Iran's government, they need to respond in some way. That's the biggest problem. They've already kind of played their card on April 11th of the show, but not a show. Now with everybody in their country saying, WTF, dog, like we've got to really do a real response. Iran also knows that, this is, if they do it in a way that really ticks off the Israelis, Israel said they are not afraid of going to a full and complete war. They have been messaging that to other member states in the area. They've been talking to, I'm pretty sure, Qatar, and they've been talking to Saudi Arabia and saying, look, we are not against going and dropping the hammer and doing a full-on war against Iran. Now, they always put the caveat, we do not want that. We don't want, and I'm sure they don't. I bet they don't. Because, again, it is going to be incredibly devastating to all kinds of stuff. A big sign for all this, Copper India, thank you so much. A big sign for all this are these notice to airmen, these NOTAMs. So that's kind of what I'm watching. Aquila has this other thing. It's this air base in, I believe, Iraq, where a lot of the air defense systems would be shot out of and have about a 40-minute window to take down any kind of major rockets, drones, and such. I forget the name of it. I'll have it tomorrow. It's something like Sud, Al-Sud, or something like that. But he said he's watching that. He's watching that because he's worried that will be where we know things are going on. The Iranians have played their cards, so they know that if they are going to respond, they have to do it in a way that is not going to be telegraphed. Clearly, the message is sent that they are not safe, even in their own homes. I mean, the Haniyeh guy was taken out in a friggin' government of Iran building. It wasn't in one of their major complexes, but still, this was under the control of the Iranians. So, what kind of a message is that? And then also think about it. Can you imagine? I mean, the Israelis struck the main dude in Tehran, from Tehran. They were in the area. They did I think it was an anti-tank missile from one building to the next while watching this guy play around on his WhatsApp app. I mean, it's just, this stuff is nuts. So the Iranians are really looking like a bunch of bumbling idiots. And the other concern, which nobody is really talking about, but like, what are the Russians going to do? You know, let's play the tape out. What happens if the Iranians say F it and they go and they do a major thing in coordination with Yemen and the militias in Iraq and Syria and Hezbollah, and they just friggin' pelt Israel with a nice salvo of some of the next advanced things, and they do some damage to Haifa. Let's just play that out. Haifa's a port city in the north. Do you really think Netanyahu's going to sit back? Do you think they're just going to be like, oh, well, okay, now we're good. De-escalation on. No, they're going to go in and be like, hammers getting dropped, and they're going to kick everybody's butt between Israel and the Litani River, probably to start. And the conjunction with that, they're going to go in and they're going to do major strikes in Damascus. It'll be air-based in the beginning, and then from there, you know, you could see a limited ground war go into the southern part of Lebanon, even into portions of Syria and Iraq, if they're worried about creating a buffer zone for there. And then from there, you could see them go and take out major oil refineries in Iran. I see something like that happening in response. And all of this is possible. It's all, I mean, and there are a lot of people who think it's probable. So I'm hoping, you know, everybody thought the big show was going to be on April 11th. And they managed to somehow skirt past that. And they did it by kind of a coordinated show. And trust me, there are talks going on in the background. America's talking to Qatar, who's talking to Iran, and they're trying to say, hey, please don't do this. Israel is talking to America, who's talking to Saudi Arabia, who's talking to Iran and saying, hey, you know, don't do this, or these are their red lines. Please do not cross them. If you're looking for a show of force, we would recommend these three options, which will probably be able to occur without a larger regional war going on. These are the kind of conversations that are happening in the background. The hope is that they can stop all this. It is a good sign that major things have not happened immediately, but still, Iran looks like bumbling idiots. Israel looks like some friggin' pros, and Mossad is doing things that, you know, intelligence agencies would teach future analysts and members of on how to conduct things. So they raised this red flag over the dome of Jamkaran Mosque, following the the attempt or the hit on Ismail Haniyeh. Supreme Leader Khomeini said, it's our duty to take revenge. You know, this is them putting it up there right now. So they did this before April 11th. And, you know, it's a symbol. There's a lot of symbolism. Nasrallah, the guy that is the head of Hezbollah, he is supposedly going to speak tomorrow during the funeral. They don't know if he's going to speak at the place or if he's going to do a recording. I'd bet everything I own he's going to be recording, especially after watching what they have done with Haniyeh and getting him from the WhatsApp app. I mean, if I were in anything, Iranian intelligence or military, I would not have a smartphone on me right now. I really wouldn't. So Chaos is expected in the Middle East. Chaos is happening all over. Chaos is happening in Venezuela. I mean, Maduro threatened Elon Musk. He wants to do a cage match with him on TV, which is, comical at first, but at the same time, like, this is where the world is right now. Medvedev basically came out and said we need a large war in the Middle East to clear the deck. Russia in the last 72 hours has been doing their third nuclear weapons trial and saying we've got everything on lock and ready to nuke the crap out of stuff. You've got, Venezuela stealing. I mean, Maduro effectively took the election. Now he is going after anybody that was a political opponent. And I wish that the American people in the campaigning on both sides would listen to the rhetoric and what Maduro is doing when he's saying, if you're against me, you're basically a terror person and we need to throw you in jail. I mean, we've seen some things that have been on par with that here in this country, and people need to be careful with that. I mean, Venezuela is a mess. I mean, there's all but a major civil war going on there right now. So there's chaos all over the world. So what would happen if a large regional war happened in the Middle East? If it was Iran versus Israel in a knockdown drag out, and because the biggest problem with that is that both sides know that it is existential. If Iran's going to go after Israel, Israel knows that their butt's on the line. They have to knock them out forever. And same thing vice versa. Iran knows that if Israel starts really throwing down against them, that they have to knock them out for good. And then the other problem with that is that, like, what does Egypt do? What does Lebanon do? What does Pakistan do? What does Afghanistan do? There's a lot of people in this neighborhood that freaking hate Israel. What does Turkey do? Now, Turkey has been saying a lot of stuff. Erdogan has been, told by the foreign minister of Israel that he needs to be kicked out of NATO for some of his rhetoric. But he's kind of pissed off about all this as well. And even he said, we need to go in and do something. What that looks like, I don't know. But Erdogan is... they've got a major military there. Turkey is no punk. They've got major assets as well. Hezbollah is 10 times as powerful by many analysts' expectations to what Hamas was. So if you're thinking Hamas was any kind of a show of what's to come, you're lying to yourself. Hezbollah has real weapons. They've got real training. They've got real militants. And Israel knows it. So, all of this is coming to a head, and it's not de-escalating. And who knows where all of this goes. Iran and Israel, or something's going to happen. Okay, April 11th was the kind of the nicotine patch. It got them through the craving, but it didn't really have a lot of damage. Well, they're all out of Nicorette. There's no nicotine patch. There's no Nicoderm for those from the 90s that remember that stuff if it's still around. It actually helped me quit smoking many, many years ago. Yeah, there's no proxy. There's no thing that's going to be able to be done. If they can figure it out, I hope to God they can. I really do. I hope to God they can figure out some way for them to stop all this and to put out some kind of a nicotine patch so both sides de-escalate. But I don't see it happening. I don't know. I don't know what they can do. But then again, I don't know all the ins and outs. I am but one man with a meager poli-sci degree that did a lot of the stuff. I actually was focused on India and Pakistan and the line of control up there in Kashmir and all that. That was kind of because we had to pick like a focus. Everybody got different things in some of my political classes, and I was American government, and then for international affairs, we had to choose a hot spot, and I chose India versus Pakistan because it was by many at that time considered to be the most possible and probable for a nuclear exchange. Which, by the way, yesterday when we were driving back from the Northeast, I went to school up there, and my university has absolutely just grown gangbusters. It was really cool to see, but yeah, it was it was just a nice little college there many years ago, and now it's this major university. So great school. I'm very proud of where I went, but I don't know. We're on the precipice of all this, and I hope cooler heads will prevail, and I hope that they can de-escalate and figure out something that will make it so this whole thing doesn't get out of control. Like mutually assured destruction, I'm hoping that they know that anything that goes on from here will be very devastating to economies and people and soldiers and countries, and they'll be able to stop it. I really do. But we're at the end. We're not. There's not much ground left before the whole thing craps the bed and there is a throwdown. So I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying that there are not other options possibly that can come in and take the air out of the balloon, but I don't know what that is. I really don't. I have no clue. So it's a nasty situation, and as the famous line goes, it's a big-ish sandwich, and we're all going to take a bite. What that looks like for you, I don't know. But I'd have your gas tanks ready. Yeah, I would. I would have your gas tanks ready. On the prepper tip, I can confirm that PRI is an incredibly solid product. I bought gasoline in 2022 in major canisters right after the SMO happened between Russia and Ukraine, because I thought gas was going to go friggin' nuts. And it was. It was going way up and everything. And I put PRI into this stuff, and I am still using it in my lawnmower. I won't put it into my vehicles because it's over. They say it's got 2 years. It was April, so we're in July. So it's 2 years and 4 months now that this stuff is still functioning as usable gas. So, and I'm not like, sponsored by them or anything, but if you are looking for long-term gas storage, and of course you need to follow your local rules and do it right, PRI is an exemplary and awesome product. So for the preppers out there, everything is going to escalate. I don't see things getting better. Now, the good news is, as we always say here, it's not a movie. It's not a movie. It's not. It's not going to happen in an hour and a half. There's time. There's still a lot of time left. There's still a lot of things you can be doing to prep up. There's still things. You should consider getting prescription medication, just if anything. Also, another thing that was covered on the crisis report in the UK is really concerned about the chicken flu. So, on that note, having medication is not a dumb move. Having gasoline is not a dumb move. Having money out, especially after seeing the cyber attack, 2 weeks ago with the IT outage, it is still affect. I swear, I know Northern Girl Hobbies, doesn't come around here often, but she's up in Canada and she's doing the things, and she's smart for doing that. But she was joking and saying, oh, you stopped at McDonald's, but I swear we were going to this place in Montreal to get bread. My daughters wanted croissants and they wanted baguette. Okay, whole reason why we went up there is because they wanted to go to France. I can't afford that. but I can spend $100 on gas and take you over the border into Montreal. And the place was like called Pine something, like do aboard. It looked like all aboard or something like that, but it was highly rated. And I was walking over to get her bread products because we were in the morning. We were staying in a hotel, and I wanted nice fresh stuff in the morning, so when they woke up, they'd have the whole experience, And walked by this corner McDonald's, which looked in, and you know how they got the big kiosks there in McDonald's, the big iPads, essentially. Swear to you, looking in from the freaking door, man, I've never seen anything like it. The big blue screens of death with the upside down smile and everything else. I mean, it was just like, holy crap. This thing is still affecting people. So on that note, have money out. We had money with us. I want to do a video here and take the pictures that we got and everything, and do a how to be a prepper and travel. My wife and I we love travel. I love seeing new places. It's the history teacher in me. I absolutely love seeing new things. I love experiencing local culture. I love experiencing local food and going and getting like a real croissant. My wife said it. She said the croissant she got in Bangor, Maine yesterday was better than the one she got in Montreal. So maybe it was a freshness thing. But anyway, would make sense because it was on a sandwich in the morning. But I love traveling. I would love to do a video on how to travel as a prepper and not freak out. A lot of preppers and are concerned, especially with everything going on, and might not want to take that trip to wherever, and a vacation doesn't have to be going over an international border to Canada. A vacation can be going to a local lake, and spending a day in a cabin, or go and camp out. Camping is cheap as all get out if you know how to do it. You can find all kinds of places where you can pay very minimal, or even, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, know what I mean, camp in a way where you don't have to pay anything, right? So, there's ways to do it. You can have a bug out bag and all that, but I'm going to make a video about that. I want to put that out there because I think people should see the world. I don't think you should be afraid to go out and see things. There's some crazy stuff going on, but at the same time, you got to live your life. You have to experience. You have to be happy. You can't be mired in fear. And the best thing about being a prepper is that you can do these things. We had our go bag with us the entire time we were on that trip in our vehicle. I'm still kind of aggravated that my wife declared the pepper spray as we went over the border into Canada. And yes, American friends, you cannot take pepper spray over there. That's how locked down liberal leftists they are up there now. And then my friends up there, the Canadians, God bless you. You're great people. We got to get Trudeau out of there. But yeah, you can travel as a prepper. You can go and do stuff, but you need to live your life in a way where, prepping gives you security and does not make you feel like you can't live and just be and enjoy, You should be prepping. You should always be doing stuff. You should be, putting away food and all that. My meal tonight, we're trying to go through a lot of our stuff we got back because, of course, we didn't go to the grocery store. We went on a trip. Well, we had a little bit of chicken left in the freezer, and I had some prepper rice that I had from our big haul in 2021, actually 2020, if I remember correctly. And I got a can of peas and a can of carrots, and sure enough, I had a prepper meal tonight for the family, and they ate every friggin' bit of it because it was so good. So, prepping gives you freedom, We get accused all the time of being paranoid and all that. We don't do this because we're paranoid, folks. We do this because we know the world is filled with all kinds of threats, and we want to protect our family, and we don't want to live in fear. So we have it. When I got home, I had everything I needed. We were totally ready to roll, and all this crap going on. At no point was I like, holy Lord, we need to, freak out. People that freak out are people that are not preppers. Okay, remember that. So, there's your prepping on that note. And it's at 50 minutes, so my OCD can now quiet down and move on and go to bed and do the crisis report, which is pretty chock full in the morning. But friends, please consider membership. Please consider the other places like Subscribestar and Locals. I'm going to get back on that actually here when we get done and I go to bed. These support me in what we're doing, and I appreciate all of it. It is great subscribers. It is great mods. It is great people like you that keep the intelligence going on and us having these conversations that are important, because as you can see on the screen here, the world is filled with all kind of risks, and you need to get your butt together to protect your family. And I promise to give you all the information as good as possible and as quick in real time as possible, with at the same time not ditching integrity for clickbait. Okay? So on that note, thank you for coming. Hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, all that, darken out the bell. And God bless you all, and I appreciate you coming to PrepperNow. We'll see you tomorrow on the next one.